Hello ladies and gentlemen. To start off this weekend in War Thunder, we have a replay from Toshio. He is in the T14, which is the American Premium Rank 2 tank, with a battle rating of 4.3, very similar to the Sherman when it comes to its gun, when it comes to its armor, but it definitely has different weak points, and because generally this tank isn't seen that much, normally what you see is a lot of people bouncing off it or complaining about it, but it does have some weak points. The flat spots on the front of the turret, on the sides of the turret, very easy to pen, and then you have the machine gun ports. And then, if you have rounds which generally don't ricochet too much, so you know, APHE, stuff like that, the front of the tank is only around about 75mm thick. So the 50mm, 75mm, 76mm should be able to go through that. So today we're on 38th parallel, and there are some slight little freezes in this replay just because it's I recorded it on a patch which was slightly different to the one it was sent in on me, but it's okay, it doesn't really matter too much. And Toshio is going to show you how to push down the right flank and basically use all of the defenses that you have around you while going ahead, only pushing forward when you can make sure that you are, you know, not going to be able to get shot. There is obviously a lot of areas around this side of the map where you can get shot from. He's also going to show you how you can use the binoculars and sight in harmony to be able to use the binoculars to shoot. You'll see a lot of this in a lot of this game. What he'll do is he'll line up the shot with the binoculars, and then he will quickly switch to the gunner's view, which will be lined up to his binoculars, and then switch back. It's one way that you can be able to see further and have a better magnification if you're not sure, you know, on the range or where you're shooting. He's having a bit of an issue with this Stug, and generally it's not because he's a Stug, it's because of that position that he's in. There's been many times where I've faced Panthers or Panzer IVs or even T-34s sat in that position, and it's incredibly hard to get a decent shot off. But luckily, he's able, with this 75mm M3, to be able to smash straight through the low glacis of that Stug and attack him. Unfortunately, bounces off of that one though. Panzer IV is able to live another day, or it might have been a Panzer III, I'm not exactly sure. But with that kill on the Stug, his left flank to where he is facing is completely solved now. It seems like a lot of the enemies didn't want to move down, and it seems like it was a Panzer III with that 50mm, but he takes him out very easily. So we know that there's not many people to his left. We know that straight ahead he basically took out the only person that he can see. Oh, and there we go. We have a very oblivious M24 Japanese Chaffee. So I have no idea what he was doing, but he's been one-shot. Probably one of the most annoying vehicles for me personally to use in War Thunder. I feel like the M24 Japanese Chaffee, I just haven't had any luck with it. At least with the American one, I have the M24 TL. So, you know, at least I get some APCR and a nice skin on it. But in the T14, Toshio has moved forward, been able to secure himself some kills, and oh my god, that's a Japanese tank. And luckily, Japanese tanks don't have a lot of armor, so you don't have to aim that quick, so he snapshots him, smashes him straight through the turret with the 75, takes him out, kills the 88 as well, not with the 50 there, but actually with the 75mm, shot a shell into the chassis and it bounced up and killed the last guy. It didn't hull break, just knocked out all of the crew. So, after taking the zone, he's pushing forward. He's just been on a rampage. He's pushed down the hill, fought in the valley, killed some tanks, and is kept moving forward. And it seems like there's a concentrated effort from his team to move forward, which means that he can keep going. Now, something to note about the T14, which does make it different to the Sherman, is the ridiculous side skirts this thing has. Generally, if you want to shoot a T14, you've either got to hit it in those flat bits on the turret, or you've got to hit it in the machine gun port. If you decide to try and shoot it from the side, it has a lot of spaced armor and everything like that. Another wonderful snapshot there. Aiming for the front wheel of the Panzer IV, so you can penetrate easily and get the most bang for your buck when it comes to the shell imploding in the tank. Snapshots again, takes out the engine of this AA, and that's gone as well. He's just pushing up here with absolutely no fear. Nobody seems to care. He's just taken out a whole squad of German tanks, which just either didn't know he was here or just weren't concentrating. That Panzer IV shot was wonderful. The snapshot, the shot on the AA to take out the engine was great, and then the other shot to finish off the person behind him. Unfortunately, isn't able to hit the snapshot there, but he does have the machine guns, and his tracks eat it up. As I said, that spaced armor on the side is just really, really good, just because there's so many different components to it. Unfortunately, the 75 with the Panzer IV does have over 100mm of penetration, and it is able to pen the side of this. But you can see the little wiggle there that Toshio was doing, and he was able to bounce 2 75 shots from the Panzer IV, finishing him off. So the tracks and everything are still going well here. That wiggle is sometimes essential when you don't have your gunner, when you're trying to get you know, your gunner back and trying to stay alive. The wiggle can do you wonders, especially if you've lost a track. He still has 3 crew members in this tank, which means that he still has a loader, meaning that he doesn't have to worry too much about loading the gun. It will be at a reduced rate and his sight will be down a little bit, but at least he still has a tank. That could have gone a lot worse if he didn't do the wiggle. So at this point in time, if we look at the map, we can definitely see after the first 5 minutes of gameplay, the enemy team has not had a good time of it. The Germans have been utterly smashed, not just by Toshio, but everybody else on his team. A clear rout. But the whole right side of the map, Toshio, it was just his playpen. He was able to push up there, use the cover as required, be able to bounce certain shots, and basically just catch either enemies out of position coming out of their spawn, or just some really accurate shooting in the basin where the capture point is. So he's moving between the spawns now, looking for the scraps of the enemy team. Somehow they've actually been able to capture a point. It looks like his allied team has turned around to try and find probably the 1 or 2 tanks which will be over there which captured us. One place you don't want to shoot this tank is its gun mantlet though, with 54mm on the front of it, backed up by 122, backed up by 82.5. You're never going to go through that. So aiming at those slight, if you want an indicator, right, if you look on the tank, there is some tracks, and there's some tracks on the front of the tank. If you nail it where those tracks are, you should go through. If you can't hit the machine gun port, or you're not confident in your round going through the angled armor of the upper glacis. So that should be your target if you want to shoot this thing. But overall, the T14 is pretty good. It is a fun tank to use, and also it's actually not that expensive. It's 1600 golden eagles for a tier 2 premium for the Americans. If you're trying to start off the American ground forces tree, I'd say it's a pretty good bet. It's probably better than the M4A5, which is its main competitor, at a BR of 3.7, and your other option is the T20, which sits at 5.0. Now the T20 is nearly or just less than double the price of the T14. So if you're worried about money, then you should get the T14. If you're not too worried about it, you should get the T20. Unfortunately, this Panzer III has just spawned in, taken a shot from Toshio, and he's trying to machine gun the he's trying to machine gun the 50mm there, just to try and knock out the barrel, just in case he shoots, but he can't get it around in time before it blows up. And he's just cleaning up now. There's literally nothing else going on here. His team has just ransacked the Germans, and it seems like on this map that generally happens. If you don't have a stalemate on the mountains on the right side, what happens is one team is able to push through and is able to batter the enemy. You saw it in the Churchill Mark 1 video that I did, and it's exactly the same here. So that's 11 kills for Toshio. showing a wonderful performance in the T14. Now, is he able to get the dozen? This is the only question on my mind, at least. He's able to get a decent shot into this Panzer, does take one back though, and it looks like there are two tanks. They are bouncing quite a lot of shots though. This Panzer has decided to go around the side. It looks like he's lost his gun or he's lost his gunner. It doesn't show on the damage reports too well, but there's not really a lot he can do here. Unfortunately, his tank just gets absolutely trounced when it comes to these two things, showing that you can easily pen the T14 as long as you know where to shoot. He nearly gets his 75 round. The Panzer III misses him somehow, and I don't know how he did that. And he finally gets taken out by the Panzer III. But still, a wonderful showing from Toshio. 11 kills in the T14, showing what can happen when enemies either don't know where to shoot you or you angle your armor really well and put that 75mm M3 to good use. A wonderful gun at 4.3 and a wonderful little premium tank as well at 4.3. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.